We want to warn you now, this next story is disturbing. A British nurse has been found guilty of killing 7 newborn children and attempting to murder 6 more. Those deaths took place between 2015 and 2016. Neonatal nurse Lucy Letby was accused of killing the babies by overfeeding them with milk and injecting them with air and insulin.
Verily I say unto you, he shall not lose his reward. And whosoever shall offend one of these little ones that believe in me, it is better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck and he were cast into the sea.
The doctor who helped catch Lucy Letby and bring her to justice has told ITV News that hospital bosses took 2 years to alert the police despite consultants repeatedly raising concerns. Speaking exclusively to our UK editor, Paul Brand, Dr Ravi Jayaram said managers forced him to apologise to the nurse after he told them he suspected she was killing babies.
Well, we were told when we initially raised concerns that if we call the police, there'll be blue and white tape everywhere, that's the end of the unit. It would be really bad for the reputation of the trust.
In fact, it was the killer who was about to turn complainant. Lucy Letby took out a grievance, with doctors forced to write this apology to her.
Dear Lucy, we would like to apologise for any inappropriate comments that may have been made during this difficult period. We are very sorry for the stress and upset that you have experienced in the last year. Please be reassured that patient safety has been our absolute priority during this difficult time.
Meanwhile, doctors continued to raise concerns, but Ian Harvey replied that there was no smoking gun and Lucy Letby would be returning to the ward, just as soon as Dr Jayaram had said sorry to her face.
How do you describe Lucy Letby?
Manipulative, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, not a problem.
Very cunning. Someone who just betrayed every aspect of the confidence that was put in her by the NHS, by her colleagues.
And the nurse looking after the baby said she was popping to the delivery suite to go and talk to the parents, and she said, I've left Lucy in there babysitting. Part of me was saying, you better go in and just check everything's okay, because you know what's happened before when Lucy's been on duty. You know what's happened before when Lucy's been on duty. As I walked towards the incubator, I could see on the monitors that the oxygen saturations, which is basically the baby's oxygen levels, were dropping. And they dropped to a level that ordinarily, number one, the alarms would have been going off. Ordinarily, number one, the alarms would have been going off. But number two, the nurse would have called for help.
The horrific nature of her crime, we have to remember that not only is she responsible for the deaths of 7 infants, she's also considered the most prolific child killer in Great Britain. So this, of course, again, a very disturbing case, and although the family...
Ordinarily, number one, the alarms would have been going off. Ordinarily, number one, the alarms would have been going off.
Dawn. The night of terror.
On a reel of microfilm in the archives in Hereford is a small but now significant notice. Back in 2011, placed by the proud parents of a smiling, newly qualified nurse. It was entirely ordinary, like, it seems, Lucy Letby herself.
I don't think there's really anything that stands out in describing Lucy Letby. I would say she is beige as a person, in that she was a normal 20-something-year-old during these offences. She had a normal social life and family and friends. There isn't anything that you wouldn't expect.
She'd grown up an only child in a semi-detached house on this comfortable, quiet cul-de-sac close to the River Wye in Hereford. Born in 1990, she went to comprehensive schools, including the city's sixth form college, before moving to Chester to embark on 3 years of nursing training. She carried out placements in Liverpool and began working at the Countess of Chester Hospital while studying, qualifying as a children's nurse in 2011. When suspicion first fell on Lucy Letby, neighbours here spoke of their shock and disbelief. People who'd seen her grow up described her as kind, studious, even geeky, but dedicated to becoming a nurse, which was her dream job. But she also had a busy social life, enjoying holidays with school friends and later nights out with colleagues. She had 2 cats and was a keen salsa dancer, attending classes and fundraised for the hospital. She was pictured in the local paper supporting its baby grow appeal for a new unit, quoted saying she enjoyed seeing babies progress and supporting their families. In another article, she posed with Dr. John Gibbs, who eventually reported her, but who for years had no concerns.
I speak for the whole Trust when I say how deeply saddened and appalled we are at Lucy Letby's crimes. We are extremely sorry that these crimes were committed at our hospital, and our thoughts continue to be with all the families and loved ones of the babies who came to harm or who died. We cannot begin to understand what they have been through. Since Lucy Letby worked at our hospital, we have made significant changes to our services. And I want to provide reassurance to every patient that may access our services that they can have confidence in the care that they will receive.
I knew nothing about 2 of those inquiries and have not read them. The inquiry that was made, I found online, and that was the inquiry organised by the hospital management and involving the college, that's the Royal College of Paediatrics and Child Health, who sent 2 consultant paediatricians and 2 nurses to the unit to look at what was going on. That investigation found nothing apart from the need for, a few more nurses, which is fine. What was concerning about that investigation was that the terms of reference did not allow the investigators to look at the clinical notes of the babies who had collapsed. And I think they're still in denial, to be honest with you. I think they failed. This matter is not about Lucy Letby alone. I mean, she was a rogue nurse. There's no doubt about that. And a rogue nurse could turn up anywhere, or a rogue doctor like Harold Shipman. But the concern is that she got away with it for such a long time, and I think that's a reflection of the fact that the systems just don't work. They just don't work. This should never happen.
In June 2015, after 3 babies died and another collapsed, doctors met with their managers and noted Lucy Letby's presence. 2 more babies would die later that year, another 4 collapsed, and by early 2016 there had been 3 internal reviews, but none of them came up with an answer.
First thing that Tony Chambers, the chief executive, said to us, he cogitated for a few seconds and he said, well, I can see how that might be a very convenient explanation for things. And what that says to me is that he'd already decided that wasn't going on and this was us just trying to cover up.
He was trying to blame you, in other words?
I think so. He didn't say it explicitly then. We discussed having CCTV put onto the unit. We discussed her being supervised one-to-one with somebody watching her all the time. And then we heard that Lucy Letby had been moved to the Risk and Governance Department, so she'd been taken off the unit.
Suddenly, babies stopped collapsing, and the hospital asked the Royal College of Paediatrics and Child Health to conduct a review of the deaths. In redacted paragraphs we've seen, its report concluded that Lucy Letby was an enthusiastic, capable and committed nurse, that there was nothing about her background that was suspicious, and that concerned doctors had been going with gut feeling. Those doctors were summoned to another meeting with executives who now accused them.
We bullied her, We'd behaved unprofessionally, we'd behaved in ways that were unbecoming to the profession, and then read out a letter from her, which was a very aggressive letter from her, basically saying, I'm coming back to work and you have to work with me, and I'm going to prove to you that I'm a great nurse and I'm not a killer like you say. And then Tony Chambers finished off by saying, so she's coming back to work, and this is the most chilling thing. I'm drawing a line under this, you will draw a line under this, and if you cross that line, there will be consequences for you.
Oh, Lucy, is it? Yes. Hello, my name's Casper West. It's step in 2 seconds. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Not a problem.
I'll put you in the back seat over here.
Hold on, man.
Yes.
Get the seat up.
Okay, just take a seat in there for me, Lucy. I'll move that seat forward a bit. Shortly.
Yeah, I've just had knee surgery.
Oh, right, okay.
They told me that there had been a lot more tests and I've been linked to some others there for a lot of them. Did you have any concerns that there was a rise in the mortality rate? Yes. Okay, so tell me about that. What concerns did you have? I think we'd all just noticed as a team in general, the nursing staff, that this was a rise compared to previous years. They told me that there had been a lot more tests and I've been linked to some others there for a lot of them. Did you have any concerns that there was a rise in the mortality rate? Yes. Okay, so tell me about that. What concerns did you have? I think we'd all just noticed as a team in general, the nursing staff, that this was a rise compared to previous years.
The babies who survived Lucy Letby's crimes will now be approaching their 8th birthdays. It has been a distressingly long wait for the doctors and nurses to be believed, and for the families to get justice.
To sentence her in her absence. I shall deliver the sentencing remarks as if she was present to hear them, and I direct that she is provided with a transcript of my remarks and copies of the victim personal statements read to the court. Lucy Letby, over a period of almost 13 months between June 2015 and June 2016, when in your mid-20s and employed as a neonatal nurse in the Countess of Chester Hospital in Chester, with specialist training in intensive care, you murdered 7 babies and attempted to murder 6 others. In the case of one of them, trying on separate occasions 2 weeks apart to murder her. You are now to be sentenced for your crimes. I order payment of the statutory surcharge in the appropriate amount. Lucy Letby, on each of the 7 offences of murder and the 7 offences of attempted murder, I sentence you to imprisonment for life. Because the seriousness of your offences is exceptionally high, I direct that the early release provisions do not apply. The order of the court, therefore, is a whole life order on each and every offence, and you will spend the rest of your life in prison.
She was a quiet nurse. She seemed keen. She seemed competent. There was nothing about her behaviour or her attitude that worried me at all. The problem with Lucy Letby was that she was consistently associated with an increasing number of unusual collapses and deaths that were happening on the unit. That's where the worry was.
When she was arrested and police searched her room, they found a teddy bear on the bed, a poster on the wall that says, "Leave sparkles wherever you go." Her mum and dad have been in court every day, but like everyone else, will have heard little to explain why their daughter, who embarked on a career caring for children, became a notorious child killer.